everyone. Welcome to another fabulous edition of the Cybersecurity Matters podcast. I'm your co-host, Dominic Vogel. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Christian Redshaw. Christian, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Dominic. How are you doing today? I haven't asked you that in a long time.
I always ask how your day is, but I never get it asked in return. I am
That's
doing
right.
Fantastic, my friend.
Enough about me. What about you?
It's a rare sunny day in March here in Vancouver, so it's always nice to be seeing some nice weather. But this is a bit of an interesting episode because we don't have a guest per se, but really interested to know what's on your mind, hear some thoughts of yours, and we'll just have a fun little convo. It's been a while since you and I have done that.
Absolutely. Well, what's on my mind today, and when I'm asked a question like that, I always think about, okay, let's go down to the basics for any organization that needs security but hasn't done much, if anything. Maybe they don't want to tackle an assessment or build a program, or they're not ready to have that conversation yet, but they should do something. So I want to boil it down to the most essential elements of cybersecurity and talk about first steps. So I want to turn that back around and ask you a question. I've got my thoughts, but I want to hear your thoughts first. What would you say is the most important thing, or let's say the most important 3 to 5 things that every organization should at least do these things first?
Yeah, really good question. And to me, I boil it down to 3. Let's follow a rule of 3 here, and based on what we're seeing on the threat landscape. Number 1 would be leveraging multi-factor authentication right across the board for email access and any remote access. Especially during the age of COVID and working from anywhere, and that's going to be a new paradigm moving forward. Any access into an internal network that's done remotely absolutely needs to have multi-factor authentication on that. Again, that's username, password, and a one-time PIN code sent as an SMS message or text message to your phone, or using an authenticator app. Right, that is absolutely needed right now. If you're not doing that, that's you're missing basic table stakes. Number 2 would be broadly referred to as communication. So that's communication at the board or C-suite level in terms of, is the board and is the C-suite frequently talking about cybersecurity and cyber risk? If they're only talking about it once a year and it's only in passing, that's not good. There needs to be dedicated conversation around this risk. When you're talking about financial risk, operational risk, personnel risk, cyber risk is part of that risk management portfolio. Absolutely, it needs to be talked at through an enterprise or ERM, enterprise risk management mindset or lens. And the other slice to that communication as well is having very clear dialogue and communication with your IT team, whether it be an internal team or an outsourced managed service provider. Again, you cannot be blindly trusting them. You need to make sure that you're asking the right questions, you're holding them accountable, providing the right oversight and governance to make sure that the business strategy and a security strategy, that there's alignment there, and that the security technologies which are being rolled out are supporting the key business processes and critical data within the organization. The third one would be focusing on the incident response or security incident response capabilities. And in this day and age, we have to be able to recognize that breaches and security incidents will happen. We have to anticipate the breach, and it's so important that knowledge and that mindset is taken. If there's the zero breach mentality, you're setting yourself up to fail as an organization. So when you're talking about your security incident response plan, make sure that your technical team, whether it be in-house or outsourced, that they know technically what to do to respond. But even more importantly is, as an organization, at the C-suite level, at the board level, do you know how the organization will respond? What's the communication strategy going to be? How are you going to communicate potential breach to shareholders, to customers, to clients? Who's going to be responsible for PR? Who's going to talk to the media? Going through that type of process before the fire is burning is very, very important.
Yes. So to sum it up, for an organization that isn't doing anything or doing very little, or assuming that IT is handling it or their IT managed service provider is handling cybersecurity, you want to make sure that you are using multi-factor authentication. You want to make sure that you're having good communication amongst the leadership and throughout the organization and to the IT department or IT managed service provider. And then have an incident response plan so that if and when something does go wrong, you know who's doing what and you know what to do, so that you can have that peace of mind that when something happens, you've got a plan in place and it's tested and you know that it works.
You summed it up beautifully, my friend. That's a nice cherry on top.
I'm only summing up what you just said, but I completely agree with that. And the first thing that comes to mind is the last thing that we said, which is incident response plan.
Absolutely.
Don't leave home without it.
Yeah, exactly. And make sure that you at least test it. Don't drop the battle plans and only bring them up when it's time for battle. It's make sure that you test them and make sure that you try it on for a fit. So you make sure that it will work as intended when the time comes. But always appreciate the convo, Christian, and I want to make sure that we extend a special thanks to our loyal viewers and listeners for carving out some of their day to hear us out and to watch. Please be sure to check out the Conversations That Matter YouTube page for previous episodes, as well as other amazing podcasts under the Conversation That Matters banner. But until next time, be well, be safe, and we'll catch you next time on the Cybersecurity Matters podcast.